What was your first reaction when you got the call saying that the Ladakh Scouts is being commissioned for the line of war?
That basic field craft, mountain craft, these people, they're adept, and so it's basically minor tactics.
How are the situations now with China and Pakistan?
Situation, it is very fluid. I would say Pakistan ka as it is, like these people, so they are on a back foot.
Na bhisheko, na samskaraha, simhasya kriyate vane, vikramarjita satvasya, swayameva mrigendrata. So today we have Lion of Ladakh, Major Wangchuk, now Colonel Sonam Wangchuk. So whenever someone says Kargil, or whenever we hear Kargil war, the first and last thing that comes to our mind is Tiger Hills. But Kargil is beyond Tiger Hills. So today, let us understand, let us get to know what happened in Leh, that is the unknown part of Kargil war. I would start off with a marvelous citation of a gentleman because of whom we have Leh as very much part of India today. On 30th May 1999, Major Sonam Wangchuk's leading a column of Indus Wing Ladakh Scouts as a part of ongoing operations in Operation Vijay in Batalik sector. The column was tasked to occupy a ridge line on the line of control in the glaciated area at a height of about 55 meters. This was essential so as to preempt its occupation by the enemy and then subsequent infiltration. While moving towards the line of control, the enemy ambushed the column of firing from a vantage point. In the process, one NCO of Ladakh Scout was killed. Major Sonam Wangchuk held his column together and in a daring counter-ambush led a raid on the enemy position from a flank, lulling 2 enemy soldiers. The officer also recovered 1 heavy machine gun and 1 universal machine gun, ammunition, control stores and 3 dead bodies of enemy personnel. Thereafter, the officer took stock of all forces along the Chorbatla axis in the Batalik sector and cleared the axis up to the line of control of all enemy intrusions at a great risk of his life. Major Sonam Wangchuk displayed exceptional bravery and gallantry of the highest order in the presence of enemy fire and in extreme climatic conditions in the glaciated area. Today we have with us Major Sonam Wangchuk, now Colonel Sonam Wangchuk. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the show. It's my great honor to be interviewing you today.
Thanks a lot.
So, sir, you first started off with Assam Regiment and then Sri Lanka, this one. So, and then you were given the responsibility of leading Ladakh Scouts. So, when all of us, when we lead something and when we are put into some other team or some other place, so how did you adjust yourself and how did you adjust your men to all these situations, sir? So this will be a great management lesson to all the youth out there.
Right. So yeah, that changeover, I would say, from Assam Regiment to Ladakh Scouts was, I would say, beneficial for me in the sense I belong to Ladakh. So I could identify with the boys, the same values, culture which we shared. Though my upbringing, I would say it has been absolutely cosmopolitan in the sense that most of my education, later part of my schooling, thereafter my graduation, I did it from Delhi. Prior to that, I was there in Himachal Pradesh, I think for about 6 to 7 years. My primary schooling, thereafter, 1 or 2 years, I was there in Solan as well as Dharamsala. So those, I would say, secular values and having a mix of, people, a cross-section of people really helped me to broaden my horizon. So there I feel very, very, very lucky. Adjusting part, that factor of communication and knowing the values and traditions and customs of Ladakh was not very difficult for me because I was hailing from that place only. And secondly, I find a lot of similarity between the Assam troops and the Ladakh troops because both of them they hail from Himalayas, holding the same kind of values, and it was not very difficult to have that changeover. Therefore, and secondly, both the regiments, they are well versed. I would say Assam regiment, they are adept at jungle warfare. Nobody can beat them there in jungles because these people, they are born hunters. चुपचाप मतलब अपना जाना शिकार के पास पहुंचना and thereafter finishing it is their forte. Whereas Ladakhis, they are well versed in mountain warfare. There nobody can beat them. Their physiology, They are customized for that region and that place. So, two facets I saw: jungle warfare and mountain warfare, where I could learn from these boys, and it was a fantastic experience.
Up until a point of time, Ladakh Scouts was not commissioned to go to the real line of action. What was your first reaction when you got the call saying that the Ladakh Scouts is being commissioned for the line of war?
Normally, Ladakh Scouts, they are into a classical role, which I'll not be explaining definitely, because you have security connotations. But that basic field craft, mountain craft, these people, they're adept, and so it's basically minor tactics which you are bringing into major operations, like it can be advanced attack, defense. But it starts from that lower level, where at the grassroots level, section level pe jahan we have an NCO and 10 men who are manning the machinery as well as the men. So it starts from there, and there these people, they were fantastic, because mountain warfare, it is all about mountains, negotiating those mountains, hilly, steep faces of rock, where these people, they excel. So there was no problem in change over in any sort of terrain out there in Ladakh. And the only problem was the Ladakh Scouts troops, they were used in bits and pieces. They were not used as a unit, homogeneous unit. So there, lay the problem, where these people, they were put in a task of guiding other units, where they used to be on the forefront, doing all the scaling and the difficult part, and they were basically a sort of a shield also for the other units. So despite being of a minuscule strength, they brought lots of casualties, but they did a wonderful job. But the recognition, I would say, was not commensurate.
As we were discussing, this part of Chorbat is like the entry point for this part. So what is that importance, and how important, or what is that, or did it become a turning point in the entire Kargil warfare?
Batalik, where I operated, the area as such, which is of which Chorbatla is also a part. It was important in the sense, as sir already brought out, it was an entry point. And historically also, the kings from both the sides, Baltistan as well as Ladakhi kings, they used to use that route in order to access the other country, in case of warfare and all that. So it has got a historical connotation which is very deep. And secondly, I really feel proud to be a part of that history now. After 400 years, we got an opportunity. I, along with Ladakh Scouts, we were able to go there and secure a portion of Chorbatla, I would say the eastern flank, which was, I think, almost done by, my troops. That is Foxtrot Company, Indus Wing Ladakh Scouts. We had a hand-picked and hand-chosen, strength of around 40 boys with me. So strength was very less, and enemy was in a much larger, strength, as well as he had a advantage of a formidable, tactical superiority. He was sitting on heights. He could see each and every movement of ours. So it was very difficult, a very tough challenge, climbing those steep, firstly, hill mountains, and thereafter reaching up to them was, I think, the most difficult part. Once reaching over there, then engaging the enemy. And in my case, we could surprise them entirely, and they didn't know. We had climbed up, and they were on the run thereafter.
So what was the ratio between the
ratio would have been 1:3.
1:3.
Yeah. The importance of Batalik is like you have that access, Marol Batalik access. Marol, it is a part of POK, again, which is very important. It's a communication center from where, you have access towards all the important places, one being Batalik. So had they been able to capture Batalik, I think they would have been able to bring in large forces of troops, move heavy guns, as well as logistics. For their war effort. So by and one of the most tactically important points was Chorbatla. Chor Batla, because Chor Batla it provided an infiltration route to 102 Brigade sector also, which is known as the Siachen Brigade. And it has got a tremendous amount of significance. Things would have been very critical had we not, secured Chor Batla. Otherwise, these people, had they got Chor Batla, they would have been able to push large number of troops. They would have interfered in the, warfare of 102 Brigade on Siachen Brigade. So that was one of the major successes which we, had once we.
So modest of you to be explaining it as any everyday event for us, like the entire thing. So it is like you covered a crack in this one so that the infiltration wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
so your
right.
entire operation was to like a cover that crack, right?
And it was a race against time,
Yeah.
Both the forces, they were trying to preempt each other, and I was very lucky. Time pe वहाँ पे पहुँचे, उसके बाद the things happened. Though it was not a planned operation, things they developed spontaneously, and thereafter I was able to capture a post, which I think is a destiny, I would say.
So in all these things, yes, we did lose one of the brave hearts,
Yeah.
Havildar Sawang.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would not be right on my part to ask how did you feel, but how did you not let that affect your other team members or your boys basically?
Initially, the head of the column which I was leading, I was taking reinforcement in order to get my boys back or help them out in whatever way I could. I didn't know exactly as to what I was going to do. So I taken a reinforcement. Once I came to know these boys, they are under intense enemy RT fire as well as small arms, fire. So I was ambushed. At that point, we were just 5 people over there, and these people, they were sitting on, those vantage points, ridge line, and firing upon us. It was an ambush, basically, which was laid for us. I lost a boy, Havildar Sawang Rigson, and thereafter, I had to send a boy back in order to tell my, column which was following behind, not to follow the trail and try and neutralize the enemy. So I had to send a boy back. Thereafter, I was, we were just 2-3 able-bodied men. At that point in time, I was really depressed. I felt very helpless also. Since I had to proceed ahead to help the other boys, but वो casualty था, I had to keep a boy with him. Then we were just 2 of us. एक मैं था, there was Havildar number 11, and Pakistani sitting on top, firing on us relentlessly. There was no cover of any sort. It was absolutely plain, snow covered. So I really felt depressed. As a commander at that stage, to be in a position where I, come to help the boys, and I was feeling helpless myself. I didn't know what to do. So I asked Havildar number 11. मैंने कहा यार हवलदार नंबर 11, हम तो मदद करने आए थे, यहाँ फंस गए, अभी क्या करना चाहिए? And that boy, the kind of determination which he had, the kind of, I would say, wisdom which he generated at that point. He said, साहब, चाहे आगे जाओ, पीछे जाओ, 500 मीटर है, गोली आगे जाओगे, पीछे जाओगे, तब भी खाना है. So might as well go ahead and do your task. Hats off to that boy. In that moment of crisis, I could think clearly कि अभी क्या करना चाहिए. So I sent a boy back with that message कि try and neutralize the enemy from where these people, they are bringing down fire upon us, and thereafter don't follow me because you'll also get into an ambush. अगर उसका support नहीं होता, that boy, I don't know, what would have happened. So I'm really thankful to him, and likewise so many other boys who were rock firm in that sort of a situation, and they came out with options, choices as to what we should do. So yeah, my motivation was bolstered by these kinds of boys who were very fantastic.
It's very rare these days to see a man who is leading giving all the credit to his team members. I mean, we have seen in many people taking all the credits from the team members, but it's very rare these days to see a man who actually led the entire thing, giving the entire credit to his team members. So I think, sir, you all trusted in that one goal of saving Chorbatla and saving the country. So I think that actually आपको वो खींच रहा था कि और ये सारी ऑपरेशंस करने के लिए.
बिल्कुल सही है.
So सर, आप दलाई लामा जी से मिले या अपने बॉयज़ को लेके जाए, तो वो इंसिडेंट आप बताइए सर.
That is very, very, fresh in my mind. Initially, the boys, as I would say, they were, also known as ad hoc company. Ad hoc company इसलिए because it was not a regular company as such. These people, they were remnants from all the other companies. क्योंकि 80-90% of the Ladakh Scouts troops, they had already been pushed into the battlefront. So these people, they were leftovers basically. And then we had boys from other units also. We had boys from 6 Guards. 6 Guards are basically, troops from South India. So tall chaps, 6 feet, 6 feet, 2 inches, 3 inches. Lekin they were not suitable for, mountains. Problem hua because of their height and all that. Center of gravity being high, you have lots of problems there in the mountains. तो उनको साथ ले जाना, to lead it in a cohesive fashion, the entire team was very difficult in a short time. और इसीलिए that gap which I am telling you about, I was in a rush, in a hurry कि मेरे लड़कों को होने वाला है, कुछ होने वाला है. So I really rushed. 4-5 boys, they could keep pace with me. Rest others, there was a large gap, I would say around 1 kilometer or so. तो उससे प्रॉब्लम हुआ because I lost the cohesion of the team. I was ahead. I didn't have a radio communication with me to coordinate things with the main body which was following up. So we had those problems. And फिर मतलब coming down to that Dalai Lama wala part. So I spoke to senior JCO prior to our move from there. He said, साहब लड़कों का morale जो है बहुत low है. मैंने कहा क्या हुआ साहब, क्या बात है. ही सेट कि साहब डरे हुए हैं सारे के सारे. वो बोल रहे हैं कि पाकिस्तानी ऊपर बैठे हुए हैं, 6.5 फुट के पठान हैं, हमारे जैसे आदमी को दो को उठा के ले जाएंगे, और उसके बाद मतलब वो गोली मारते हैं सीधा, मतलब यहीं पे लगता है. सो दीज काइंड्स ऑफ रूमर्स एंड लंगर गप्स दे वर डूइंग अराउंड एट दैट स्टेज. तो मैंने कहा कि क्या यार, अभी क्या कर सकते हैं ऐसे सिचुएशन में, तो लड़ाई के लिए जाना बहुत मुश्किल है. With this kind of morale, we'll be vanquished and we'll be massacred. तो क्या करना चाहिए. सीनियर जेसीओ ने बोला साहब एक तरीका है, दलाई लामा he is in station, so in case we are able to get an audience with him, I think it will do wonders for the troops. और faith तो है लड़कों का. We have in every community, in every part of our country, people, they have that faith which is really tremendous. और वो वी कैश ऑन इट. आर्मी में हमेशा मतलब वो परेड्स होते हैं प्रायर टू एनी स्पेशल ओकेशन, लाइक मूविंग फॉर एक्सरसाइजेस, प्लेइंग गेम्स, कॉम्पिटिशंस. ये हमेशा हमारा मंदिर परेड वगैरह होता है. वी गो देयर, मंदिर परेड, गोम्पा परेड, मस्जिद परेड, वो सारा का सारा होता है. देयर आफ्टर देन वी प्रोसीड अहेड. इट हैज़ बीन अ पार्ट ऑफ किंग्स क्वींस थे उस टाइम. इट इज़ हिस्टोरिकल. सो मैंने कहा कि मतलब अरेंज करें फटाफट. 24th था आई थिंक. वी वेंट एंड स्पोक टू द पर्सनल असिस्टेंट ऑफ दलाई लामा, एंड देयर आफ्टर माई अंकल, he was also in a position of influence. He was the CC of Leh Autonomous Council. So unki wajah se we could arrange his blessings. So on 25th we went, the entire company, maybe around 70 to 80 odd boys, and we had his blessings. Personally, हर एक आदमी के सर पे हाथ रखा, he patted their head, he kept his hands on their cheeks. और उसके बाद हम लोग शुंगा बोलते हैं, तावीज़, वो हमारे उन्होंने एक तावीज़ दिया. उसके बाद वो छोटे छोटे प्रसाद जो हैं वो पैलेट्स टाइप होते हैं, तो उसको एनवल्प में डाल के वो सारा का सारा दिया. एंड आई कुड सी अ सी चेंज इन द बॉयज़. और वहाँ से देन आई थिंक एवरीथिंग स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम देयर. एंड टू ब्रिंग दैट बॉन्डिंग एज अ टीम विच नेवर हैपेंड. तो इट वॉज अ क्राइसिस सिचुएशन वेयर वी वर रश्ड एब्सोल्युटली. तो वही है, आई डिडंट नो द बॉयज़ दे डिडंट नो मी. I just the advantage was, as I was saying, कम्युनिकेशन पार्ट, क्योंकि कमांडिंग ऑफिसर ने भी सोचा कि सिंस it's such a heterogeneous group of a body of troops, so therefore in case somebody is there who can communicate with the boys, and I being a Ladakhi, I was the choice कि लद्दाखी है, कम से कम कम्युनिकेशन में प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा, he'll be able to that way consolidate the team. That's why I think the better sense, I would say, sense prevailed. Commanding officer he said कि Sonam, he is a good choice, कम्युनिकेशन में प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा, बिखरा हुआ बिल्कुल टीम है.
I happen to hear a very famous incidents of using kukri to smash those, Pathan, 6 feet Pathan. So, and I also happen to learn that, a lot of linguistic exchanges also do happen between the soldiers. So, how is that, sir? How would...
we didn't have this sort of an opportunity because हम लोगों ने उनको ऐसा सरप्राइज किया that after once we fired, they ran helter and skelter. 2-3 जो है we had they had pitched tentages right down on the place from where we were sitting. These people they ran inside and वही है बुद्धि भ्रष्ट हो जाती है जब when you it's a crisis situation, when you panic, your thinking is not straight. So these people they went inside the tents, which was not a protection at all.
Yeah.
It was a plunging fire and there was no deployability. मतलब वहाँ से फायर करने के लिए भी अगर थोड़ा स्लिप हो जाए पैर दाएं बाएं, you go headlong, मतलब नीचे thousands of feet you going down. So उसमें the people they were maneuvering, to get that sort of a firing position. वो फायरिंग पोजीशन ही नहीं बन रहा था. टेंट बिल्कुल इट्स ए स्टीप क्लिफ्स, उसके वहीं नीचे फुट उसके साथ टच करते हुए उनका टेंट है, उसके अंदर घुसा हुआ है. तो वी हैड लॉट्स ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स, बट देन हवलदार Sonam Wangchuk, again he was a fantastic chap. That boy exposing himself totally, sir, ऐसे उसके ऊपर मतलब वो देखते हुए he fired. He fired, brought down these...
From this point.
Yeah, from this point. अगर वहाँ थोड़ा सा slip हो जाता है पैर, नीचे जाता है पूरा 60-70 meters down. So he was a mountaineering instructor and a fantastic boy. और मेरा इंस्ट्रक्टर था हवलदार होते हुए, क्योंकि मैंने भी mountaineering course वगैरह कुछ भी नहीं किया हुआ है. So it was there only where I, learnt actually rock craft. इसी लड़के ने मुझे सिखाया था. And that also in a fantastic and a wonderful way, sir. His methods, they used to be, so I would say, relaxing. Joke karta hua, mazak karta hua. You never used to feel that you're doing a task. So it was fantastic and a lovely experience.
Sir, I have also heard that, the soldiers who are caught alive or the bodies of soldiers. So there is a stark difference between how Indian Army treats the enemy soldiers, be it alive or the dead body, and the enemy treats the Indian Army Jawans. So could you please tell us about that?
Bodies, we were able to get hold of 3 dead bodies of the Pakistani soldiers. As I was saying, they went inside the tents. But since we had exhausted our ammunition, we had pelted them with stones. We had rolled down stones on their body and they were absolutely crushed, bleeding all over. So we got hold of those dead bodies and later on it was sent to the operational base, from where I believe they were handed over to the Pakistani authorities. I don't know exactly. In most of the cases, these people, they never accepted the dead bodies.
Exactly.
They refused. They said कि ये हमारे soldiers का नहीं है. These are non-state actors and we have nothing to do with it. On the Pakistani front, though when you meet man to man, and when you have social and cultural contacts, these people are very warm. They are very much like us, holding same kinds of values. Or sab kuch hai, traditions and everything, it is very, very similar. But I think the handful of people, sitting at the top, who form the government, I think these are the people who breed hatred and bitterness and change the entire, thinking and mindset of the people. So, वही है, अगर people in position, in case they understand this thing and thereafter they try and bring, harmony and coexistence, I think things are going to be entirely different. तो वो होता नहीं है हर एक government में, because everybody wants to hold on to power. And फिर उसमें मतलब वो hate mongering तो Pakistan ko agar, in case they don't do India bashing, how do they survive as a nation?
So this brings us to what was the situation back then, the support from the government. It can be moral support, it can be ammunition support, or it can be decision making choice support. Back then and now, what do you feel, what's the difference?
I think there is definitely a change. Galwan, it has taught us lots of lessons, and I think following that, the government, they have relaxed their policies quite a bit, in the sense like the formation commanders and people at the front, they are able to make decisions. The decision making power has been delegated to them. So I think it is a good part where the defense forces who actually are on ground, and they are in a position to gauge the situation much better. I think these people, they are a part of decision making and the things as to how the entire gamut of things are going to change on the, I would say, tactical and as well as strategic front. So ये भी नहीं है कि it's a free and a full hand which has been given to the people who are there at the forefront. We have a chain of echelon in the army, wherein people, they go back for decisions. But then in case it is within the house, like it is within the army's superior officers and down below, people who are there on the grassroots, like young officers, we have captains, majors who are commanding companies, and thereafter who are responsible for platoons. I think it is something which is really great. So that thing has come in. And secondly, as you know, Ladakh, it has got tremendous accretion of forces. Prior, we just had a division over there. Now a corps has come in. The quantity of troops, quantum of troops, it has really gone up. We, as of now, we have got around 50,000-60,000, army men over there, incommensurate with the, our adversaries who are on the other side. These people also, they are hell-bent. Like these people, they are making road networks. Modernization is taking place on the borders, and they are trying to influence, their way in. They are pushing patrols in. They are trying to, change the perception as far as China is concerned in the eyes of the entire international community. So this is one thing which we have to see and stem it in whatever way possible. It's a danger sign, and Chinese as it is, these people, they are very shrewd and cunning, and they have long-term goals.
Yeah.
So keeping that thing in mind, I think it is very important that we also have lots of options, and long-term thinking is there amongst the top echelons. Doctrine वगैरह होना चाहिए, तो वो सारा का सारा अगर हो, and in case there is a continuity, whenever the baton is exchanged between the army, all these various departments, political, सारे के सारे मतलब, in case they can come on one platform and in the national interest and decide what our foreign policy, what our defense policy be, I think it is going to be great for the nation.
How about this ammunition productions that is happening within the country? So what was it back then and now? What do you feel about that?
As everybody knows, we have got this impetus where Make in India, that is happening, and lots of good things are coming. Like we have corporates, जैसे मरवो Tatas हो गया, and which are the other corporates who are really doing good work, production वगैरह, indigenous weapons, they are coming in now. It will take time to strike roots and follow it up in a big way, but things are happening, and it is a positive sign, and it's something which is really good.
So it's a positive sign that government is supporting military in the national interest. That's what you want.
Definitely.
So how are the situations now with China and Pakistan? Now that, as you said, Ladakh mein abhi 40,000-50,000 soldiers are placed. So how is the situation now with China and Pakistan?
Situation, it is very fluid. I would say Pakistan ka, as it is, like these people, they are on a back front. because of their bad economic status, and they've drawn a blank on the international this thing stage also. So they are on a back foot. Abhi unki taraf se you don't see much of dangers. But as far as China goes, negotiations are on. You would see in newspapers and all that ground commanders, both they are having negotiations, and there are few things which have not been resolved. So these people, they are in an endeavor, in an effort to resolve those issues. Abhi wahi hai, lot of on both the fronts they feel lot of land has been occupied by the other, so negotiations are on.
Sir, I know all of us have our families, the support of the families, which is crucial for anyone to do anything. So, apart from the normal families supporting their husbands or wives, it takes a great strength for the family of a Fauji to support him, especially when he or she is commissioned on the line of war. So, collectively, if you can tell us what a family of a Fauji undergoes when they hear the news of their son or husband or daughter or wife or brother, sister, when commission, now the women are also allowed to go to the war front. So what are the whirlwind of emotions that they feel, and how do they even give you strength?
Actually, in my case, especially the ladies, they gave me a lot of strength. Though they were broken from inside, I am very much sure. But my mother, she stood very firm. Both my sisters, though they had lots of tears, they cried a lot, but all the same they came to the convoy from where we had started, and they bade me adieu and farewell with lots of love and blessings. So at a later stage, I'm sure they would have faced a lot of emotional outbursts, and definitely when a son or a brother, he's gone on the battlefront, I think one definitely feels it in an emotional way, but they kept their calm, and I think the local formation commanders also, courtesy to them, these people, they kept on telling them as to what the situation was, and once we achieved this success, it was relayed to them also, and they were absolutely thrilled. My wife, she was also there with the entire family, though she was appearing for civil services then, and she was there for about a couple of days. But on 31st, when we were going for this raid on the enemy, that is the time when my wife, she was writing her examinations. I think it was Sunday, and she was doing her prelims of civil services. So I'm sure people were getting on with their routine task, and everything was being done despite having lots of stresses and tensions related to their loved ones being on the battlefront. So that is how an army family takes care of things. It's a second tier of defense, or I would say they are we people are actually there on ground, and we are facing this situation. It doesn't trouble you that much, but when you are not in the know of things, sitting behind back, that mind of yours, it can take you anywhere. Imaginations, they work overtime. So the हमारे लिए छोटा सा होगा, उनके लिए I don't know, it increases multifold.
Because you are their universe.
I am there. We are a part of that situation. And army as it is, they train you. In case the bullets they are flying around, we do simulation exercises where you undergo that sort of a situation. So you are well versed and you are well trained to face this sort of a situation, an adverse situation, whereas families, they are not. So it's very difficult. I just can't imagine what they went through. They would have gone through lots of turmoils, and it is only those people, they'll be able to tell them. And once you are back, then the emotional outburst and that flow of happiness, it is really tremendous. They hold it back. and go on with their routine jobs and duties and all that. But in the hearts of hearts, deep inside, they are really broken.
So, sir, it is 25 years to Kargil. So, I mean, people of my generation, we have seen the media coverage happening of the war. We have seen and we have heard stories of brave soldiers, either shaheed ho gaye ya wapas aaye, and it's been 25 years for this glorious war. Looking back 25 years, what do you feel?
Yeah, I feel, tremendous amount of pride and elation. And I feel, the kind of blessings which I've got from my community, from the entire country. I think it is really wonderful. And you feel a sense of gratitude for everything that you have got. And I think most of the time it is a payback time wherein, whatever you can do with your limited resources and time which you have, I think I really want to do that. पूरा उस तक का हो जाता है when you were there at the battlefront, the kind of camaraderie, born homie, and bonding which we enjoyed. Same thing, those same feelings and moments, I could catch up again when I was there with sir, ma'am, and it was fantastic and really great to be a part of such an event and such a family who are doing so much of fantastic work for the entire society. It is their work effort is not only limited to this region and their place. They go all over India to people who are there in need and support, maybe emotional, motivational, and materialistic help. Whatever they can provide, they are doing. And I think it is something which is really great. And coming together on that platform, I feel really great and wonderful.
Sir, a bit of off topic. We've been hearing a lot negative about army, military. At times, very common people who doesn't even know how long the rifle would be, or what weight it would be, talk very loosely about our Jawans. And in this era of social media, it won't take much longer to reach whatever people are talking about Jawans, to reach the Jawans basically. At times do you feel, अरे मैं क्या इनके लिए काम कर रही हूँ, इनको बचाने के लिए मैं I've left my family, और इनको बचाने के लिए और इनको सर्व करने के लिए I've left my comfortable life and now I'm being on the border. ये लोग तो एसी हॉल में या अपने घर के कंफर्ट में बैठ के ये सब कुछ बोल रहे हैं. I mean, not just people, there are political leadership who talk very loosely about military, army, Jawans, especially about the Agniveer. That is actually the basic motto is to instill national interest in the youth. So, as a Jawan, what do you feel, sir?
Firstly, I'm really happy to be a part of Army, which is a fantastic organization with tremendous amount of values, traditions, customs, and it keeps you entirely insulated from the entire, the community as such, from the outside world. We are secure, in our environment. Physically as well as mentally, those things, whatever is happening outside, do not affect us, I think, at all, because we have got our customs, values, we have got our missions, goals which we have to achieve. We have got our targets, be it a peace station or field station or on the battlefront. We are thinking in those terms only. We always feel the entire community is together, united. They are supporting us because, after all, we are representing them. Yeah. We are working for their security. So, one odd person, who is not happy with us, maybe for whatever reasons, because I've also heard people saying कि army कौन सा बड़ा काम करता, हम भी तो we also earn our bread and all that. So, what is the difference? ये जो काम कर रहे हो हमारे काम में, मैं भी अपना गाड़ी चलाता हूँ, मैं भी अपने फैमिली को छोड़ के आ जाता हूँ, मतलब 16-17 घंटे के लिए. सो व्हाट इज़ द डिफरेंस? डज नॉट मेक एनी डिफरेंस एट ऑल, बिकॉज हमारा लाइफ जो है हमारा लाइफ है. इट गिव्स यू अ ट्रिमेंडस अमाउंट ऑफ सेटिस्फैक्शन, बैलेंस and equanimity, and as such, I'm getting into meditation. So I know the external things and the values and situations, they should not affect me at all. I don't react to it. So I have learned to internalize my emotions, see as to what is happening inside me, which is more important, rather than looking at the world and the turbulence and turmoil which is outside and getting stressed. There's no point. You look at yourself inside you, and thereafter, which gives you strength. And it's much better in case you try and understand as to what you are, rather than trying to put meaning and give meaning to the other situations and people around you at times which are very negative and stressful. So I keep myself insulated, absolutely.
Sometimes it is not the voice of a bad that will cause harm. It is the silence of a good that will cause more harm than the voice of a bad. So this brings me to the end of this interview. So what's your message for all the youngsters who really want to do something good for the country? Yes, of all the people, of all the youngsters who are, leaning towards left, center or whatever, we do have a good amount of youngsters who has a will to do something good for the country. So what's your message for them?
I would say everybody, wants happiness. That's from where I would like to start. And the best thing is to be happy. In order to seek happiness, firstly, what I believe is, in case your occupation, in case it is in harmony with your talents, with your deeper values, I think it is something which is really wonderful, and it will give you a lot of happiness in whatever you pursue. And in case you are happy, definitely, a happier person, whatever he has, in case he has got happiness, he can give happiness to the other people. But in case you are bitter inside, I don't think it is possible to, give happiness to others when you don't have it. Something you don't have, you cannot give it to other people. So from there, I make a start. And secondly, I think we have a multicultural, community, country. It's a country of diversity. So I think there is a tremendous, thing to respect other cultures, take them on the same platform, have a tolerant, view and attitude about other people's opinions, their, values. So it's something which is very important. And thirdly, I would say, key underprivileged people, try and bring them up to parity. Which is not happening now. There is a lot of gap which is developing between people who are very affluent, and there are people who are striving for a 2 square meals. So I think with this note, I would like to say thank you.
After all these talks, I feel I'm very honored to be talking to one of the bravest soldiers I've ever known. And this interview will be an eye-opener for all our viewers who just thought Kargil starts and ends with Tiger Mountains.